a real friend doesn't have to do your deal, doesn't have to buy your product, but at least they can high five you at the finish line and say, man, I'm proud of you.
Listen up or run for cover. Dropping knowledge from the people who have it to the people who need it. The real Bradley Bombs is dropping.
What it is, Brad Lee back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today in the studio, well, not actually in the studio, but via Zoom, I got a badass for you, a real treat. Todd Falcone. What's cracking, Todd?
What's up, my friend? How you doing? Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you. For those of you that don't know who Todd Falcone is, that means you're probably not in sales or MLM or network marketing or direct marketing in any way, because this dude's been doing it for over 15 years, killed the game, made millions of dollars. Now he's running around speaking, training, coaching, networking, writing books, being a celebrity. Good to have you.
Great to be here, my friend.
So, dude, the reason why I wanted you on the podcast is a couple of reasons. Number one, you got a lot of experience. But number two, there's a lot of people out there not making money. Now, I want to know why MLM, network marketing, direct marketing, has a 92 million people a year join one of those things?
I don't know what the figures of who join. I know that there's 100 million people globally that are involved in the profession, about 17 million in the U.S., and the direct selling profession at large does about $183 billion US a year in terms of sales. So I don't know the figures in terms of how many new people are joining, but those are the numbers of people that are in currently.
So, dude, why do you think it gets such a bad rap? I mean, every time somebody says, hey, I got this opportunity, people, it's one of them MLMs. I ain't doing that shit. Why do you think so many people give it such a bad rap?
Yeah. I mean, what's interesting is traveling around the world and being on a stage and saying MLM has a blank attached to it. And that could be any country. And the word that they always come up with is stigma, which I had to go Google. I mean, I knew what the name, what it meant, but when I hear the word stigma, it's like I visualize this big seeping pussy wart on somebody's face. Like, to me, why should our profession have that vibe? Well, I think to some extent it does, because a couple of reasons. Number one, there are a lot of people that get into network marketing or direct selling that never had any plans on treating it seriously. It's so cheap to get in. Somebody can get in for free or $50 or $500 or $1,000. And because it's so cheap, literally anybody can get in. They come in, they have this big fantasy in their brain about, I'm going to be getting rich in 90 days. And when they're, 2 months into the deal and they're making $20 a month because they're starting a new business, they quit. And then their buddies are like, hey, what happened to that deal that you were doing? Oh, it didn't work out for me. And what's interesting is, like, the naysayers or the people that don't understand the profession, they'll say things like, and they'll quote some statistic that doesn't exist. Like, 97% of the people that do network marketing fail. I'm like, dude, show me the research study where you have all that data. I'd love to see it. The truth is, the people that fail simply don't do the work. It's that simple. So network marketing works for the people that work it. End of story. There are companies as well, and there have been methodologies that have been taught over the years where, and it's still even taught to this day, where, if I said, hey, Brad, I've got this business I'm doing, I'd love to show you what I'm up to. Or if I invite you to my house, hey, I'm having a wine and cheese party at my house, come on over, bring some friends. And then I sneak out a whiteboard and I start pitching you a deal and you didn't anticipate it or expect it. That pisses me off and makes me feel differently about the business model of network marketing, because you snuck it up on me, right?
You also feel used a little bit.
Yeah, you feel used. I mean, I drove 45 miles 25 years ago. This guy said, look, I know you're good at marketing. I need somebody to do some marketing consulting for my company. You're referred to by a friend. And so I drove from Monterey to Santa Cruz, California, sat down with the guy, and like in 5 seconds found out he was pitching me a deal. I got up and left. I said, you lied straight to my face, and I'm not interested, and I'm leaving. I didn't even turn around. I just walked out of the meeting. So, so the profession has, it's not perfect, right? I mean, nothing is perfect. But I mean, I've been in this profession for 32 years. I started at the age of 22. I'm 53 now. and this has been my livelihood for over 3 decades.
What's
So,
the most
it's an amazing profession.
Hey, what's the most you made in a month's time on a regular basis? And which company was it with?
On a regular basis, in a network marketing business, consistently 75, 80. Probably the most I've made in a month, specifically from a network marketing check, is like 140, 150.
All from basically downline purchases, so you didn't have to do much work. It was just override.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that you didn't have to do much work to get there, because that's where the work comes in. That's where people give up, and it never really, collectively grows.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you were to go buy a McDonald's franchise. First of all, you're gonna have to beg, borrow, and steal to get it done. It costs you a minimum of $1 million, and you're not going to expect to pull a profit out of that deal for probably 3 to 5 years minimum. Even if it's you're selling tons of burgers, because you got to get your money back and you got to figure out how to make it profitable. And in this business, people get in and they're like 3 months into it, and if they don't feel like they're making 10 grand a month, they're toast. It's ridiculous. I'm like, and it's common. I mean, people come in all the time, and that's the mindset.
You're not still doing it, are you? You're now running around books and consulting and speaking. Are you still involved in one?
Well, yeah, actually, interestingly enough. So for the past 16 years, I've 100% focused on teaching and training network marketers, not being involved in any company. And in November, I made an industry-wide announcement saying, hey, for the first time in 16 years, I'm going back out in the field to build a company. And it's a company that it's actually based in Vegas, down by you.
What's it called?
And, I worked with these guys for 6 years, and honestly, I was having FOMO, fear of missing out. Like, being a speaker and a trainer is great. But it's not the same kind of residual income that you get building an organization where it's based on repeat product sales and purchases. So yeah, no, I'm putting to the test what I've been teaching for the past 16 years and having a blast at it.
Well, that's awesome. So for people listening, if you're not making, I'd say 30,000, I'm sorry, I was going to say 30,000 a month. Let's say if you're not making $80,000 a year and you're on some salaried position, I would strongly suggest that you look into picking up a side hustle. And that's why I always say, people always ask me, Brad, what's your opinion of MLM? And then, there's the companies that say, well, we're not MLM, we're network marketing. And then, I don't know why that stigma's there either, Todd, but I can tell you it's there. And that's what's weird, because it's such a no-brainer. Like, if you're in a salary position, not making any money, you're limited. That's the quickest, easiest way to start your own business based on somebody else's product and processes that, if you duplicate successfully, brings you in recurring revenue. Like, no doubt. I don't understand why everybody wouldn't be in an MLM of some kind, network marketing organization. And again, it's just a way to market the product, right? You don't see TV ads for MLM products because that's just their marketing method. Too many people.
Yeah, and if you're a salaried person, W-2 employee, you have very few deductions that are available to you. And you just starting a business of your own in a network marketing business gives you tax advantages that you don't currently have. So it's a smart move just from that perspective. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to give tax advice here on this podcast, but it's pretty simple. You got limited deductions as a W-2 employee. You become a self-employed independent contractor, independent distributor with a network marketing company. You've got all sorts of write-offs available to you that you didn't have yesterday. Instantly. So even before you've made a profit, you're actually, increasing your net income just by being involved in a side hustle in network marketing.
Instantly. Sign up. Boom. You're in business.
Yeah.
Also, folks, if you guys want to look Todd up, go to toddfalcone.com, Falcone, toddfalcone.com, and you can follow him on Instagram at Todd Falcone. Now, Todd, you got a book, Fearless Networking. So you're still actively training people how to kick ass at network marketing, yeah?
Every day. Yeah, I wrote that book about 3 years ago. It's so funny about since you asked that question. So I had been speaking for like 10, 11 years, and people are like, dude, you need to have a book. You're not legit unless you have a book. I'm like, I don't know. My bank account shows that I'm legit. The amount of speaking gigs that I've got booked the last year, the year before that, upcoming. Yeah, I think I'm pretty legit. And so I finally said, okay, I'm going to write a book. And I had this book in my brain for like 2 years. And I sit down and try to grind it away, and I couldn't write it. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do a training. And so I sat down to write a training, not a book, a training. And I knocked this book out in 6 days. It's not a huge book. It's 108 pages, but then it became effortless for me to write the book. So I knocked it out. It's all about creating relationships, inviting, overcoming objections, following up, closing, all the fundamental things that we do in networking. And I mean, it's good for anybody in or out of network marketing, but we've done well with the book. As I was mentioned right before we started, I think we're at about 500,000 copies of that book out in the marketplace, which if you've never authored a book, that's a lot of books. So not a million, but halfway there, we're getting there.
Has the network marketing industry saw any growth because of COVID?
I haven't seen the figures out of the WFDSA yet, but based on, I've got a pretty good feel in the marketplace because I talk to networkers every day, company owners, CEOs, and so on. And just to see what's happening since COVID hit. When we went into lockdown last March, I started getting phone calls and text messages from friends of mine that had businesses or had been in organizations of mine in the past. I get my buddy David, who called me up. He was a realtor. He's like, hey, I'm out of business. I need to get back involved in network marketing. My buddy Jason calls me up. He's like, hey, he runs a network of mobile disc jockeys, very successful doing it. And he's still out of business, right? So I've seen a lot of growth I don't have the figures in front of me, but the people that I know in the profession for the last 10, 11 months have seen really good gains in their businesses. A lot of new people considering network marketing. Think about it, Brad. I mean, we went on to lockdown and then people were sent home and they're sitting at home going, okay, how am I going to feed my kids? I'm sitting here on unemployment, or maybe not even getting unemployment, because some of the unemployment deals, like in the state of Oregon, you could try to get unemployment and most people weren't even able to get it because the system's so archaic. And now they're sitting at home, they're going, how am I going to feed my family? And even things like Uber and Lyft and Airbnb, these like gig economy things that were once available, at least for the first part of that lockdown, nobody was Ubering and Lyfting, or, even like your Airbnb, nobody was traveling, shut down. I had friends of mine that run multiple Airbnbs and they were 100% shut down. And network marketing is, like, to me, the only real viable option for a person stuck at home who doesn't have the knowledge to come up with an idea, concept. And if they did, then they'd have to get the attorney, come up with the idea, the marketing plan, the business plan, the money, all these things. Network marketing, you could come in, you can plug and play and go. You can find a product line or, a service or whatever. There's products and services sold to the profession. You can pick one that makes sense for you and you go, cool, I'm going to plug in and play. They've got a pre-existing system. They got a marketing strategy. I don't have to come up with the idea. I can just start working it. And so, yeah, I think, nobody's been having fun during this deal, but the truth is, I believe that it's been very good for the network marketing profession because more people are looking at alternative options in terms of making money where they can do it from home.
So to go back to, you said you got into the business around 22, 23?
Yeah.
What made you
22.
get it? What brought you into the business, and what business was it? Did somebody of yours say, hey, I got an opportunity?
I was the result of a cold call out of the white pages. So I was graduating from the marketing department at Long Beach State, and the Cal State Long Beach put out a list of graduates of names out of the marketing department. This guy went through, found me in the white pages, picked up the phone, called me. I was living in Long Beach, California, said, hey, my name's Jim. I'm with Orange County Marketing Group. We're a marketing company looking for people that can train and manage us and others in the expansion of our company. We want to talk to you. And I thought I was getting recruited into a job. I didn't even know what multi-level marketing, direct selling, network marketing was. So I put my suit on, my clip-on tie, rolled down to Irvine, California, and walked into this office building, this beautiful office building. And then they took us into this room with about 75 chairs, a whiteboard, a big screen TV. And I was like, this is a weird interview. And I was so naive. I didn't even know I was getting pitched. I just sat there. I'm like, this is a weird interview. This is different than I've experienced in the past. I sat there, watched the presentation, and it was for a company called NSA, National Safety Associates, which is still in business today. They're now called Juice Plus. They market, powdered fruits and veggies that are, consumable nutrition. Back then, we had air and water filtration units. So I was selling these 50C countertop water filtration units and air filtration units. And that's how I began that journey way back in the day.
How long did it take you before you started making any grip?
My first 2 years, I failed miserably. I just say I had a lot of great experience. I had amazing training. I quit my job. I was selling cable television door to door at the time, making $1,000 a week, working like 3 nights a week, 3 hours a night. And I thought I was going to be making 10 grand a month in 90 days, not because somebody told me that, but that's the picture I painted in my head based on the business opportunity that I saw. And I think it was also my just naivete. I just didn't really know. And so I quit my job. I had no money. I had no assets. I had no savings. I was like knocking on doors, trying to sell water filters to eat top ramen. I ultimately like got to a point where I ran out of cash. I had to move home to Monterey, California. My family owned a radio station, cut up my credit cards, went through consumer credit counseling to pay off the debt, took a job there. And just to find my sanity, I had to find another network marketing business because I walked into that job environment and it was so different than being an entrepreneur, being around the energy and the positivity and just even though I wasn't making money, the energy that I was surrounded with was totally different than in the job. And so I found another network marketing business, name of that company back, and I don't even know if they're still in business, Bodywise International. And I found this company and I was going to a payphone with a roll of quarters and a pager. And I would be prospecting from a payphone because I was living at my mom's house. And if she knew I was doing network marketing under her roof while she was helping me get back on my feet again, she would have kicked me out. So I was having my check and my product shipped to a friend's house. And when I came back in, it took me about 18 months, part-time, in between what I was doing for my family's business to get it to, maybe $4 or $5 grand a month. And then at right around year 4, in terms of total time in, that's when I hit my first $10,000 a month in network marketing and was able to maintain and grow it from there. So it took me a bit. It was 4 years in before I got to, a 6-figure year.
So what gave you the ball? What gave you the balls to stick to it?
I think when I got in, it just made sense to me. And I was looking at other people. If it works for that dude, I'm going to do this thing. I don't care how long it takes me to figure it out. If it's working for him, if it's working for her, they ain't any different than I am.
So it was competitive.
I knew that it had the idea of no boss and residual income and big money. Those were like appealing to me. I never liked having a boss or working for somebody else. So I was, I think maybe it was hard-headedness and just not knowing any better. That's, I just stuck to it until I figured it out. I got friends of mine that have done, I got a friend of mine, she made 2.7 million her first 24 months and had never done network marketing before.
Who's that?
What's that?
Who's that? Is that all?
It's a friend of mine, Haley, who's in a very large direct sales company. She was an attorney and a fitness woman. And she came in and she's just a beast and just blew it up.
Yeah. There's a lot of celebrities out there that I think if they got involved into a network marketing, they'd make a fortune. A lot of influencers, because people with influence obviously can get a lot of people to join something. And if a lot of people join, and the product's good, of course, I think it's just a matter of, network, which is why it's called network marketing. I know a guy who's married to a girl who's like a Spanish TV star. She joined Monate and freaking is making a lot of money just because she had all that influence. So what would you say to people listening if they've got a brand, they're little micro influencers or celebrities? What would you say to them? How come, would you advise that they get involved? How much money could they make?
It depends on the deal and how committed they are, obviously. But I think if somebody is a micro influencer or a significant influencer, they have a vehicle if they choose to, get involved and represent a network marketing company and whatever brands that they have to offer to do something significant. They can't just come in and do a post or a shout out. That's not going to cut it. You can't just do, a shout out and all of a sudden, boom, massive amounts of sales that are going to stick. I know that Dan Bilzerian did a deal a while back where it wasn't a network marketing company, but it was a brand before he created his own brand, did a couple of posts and did hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales. But he stopped right there, right? He didn't continue it. It was an offshoot of a network marketing company, but had he stuck with that, he could have built, something significant there. But Dan, how many followers does that guy have? Like millions and millions of followers. The guy's a beast on Instagram. So, and I know he ended up creating his own brand, which is probably a good idea for him.
Dude, you're living up there in Bend, Oregon, obviously kick-ass little town in the Pacific Northwest. You can operate from a laptop, can't you?
Yeah, yeah. I actually moved here from Scottsdale. I was down there for 5 years sweating, and my kids weren't growing up skiing. So I was like, I'm not having it. I got to get back up. I grew up in Washington State, lived there for 17 years, and then spent 20 years in California, and then back up to Seattle, and then Scottsdale. And I was just missing the Pacific Northwest. And, I live 30 minutes from Mount Bachelor. So, door to door, I can be in my boots and on the slopes in a half hour. My kids are skiing probably 3-4 days a week, and it's just a healthy place to be.
Are you a good skier?
No, I'm an excellent skier. I've been skiing for over 40 years. There's nothing that I can't ski. At my age, though, there's a few things that I choose not to. I have the ability to do it, but no, as far as sports go, that's been my number one sport my entire life. So it's my passion. I love it.
Well, Bachelor's a badass ski resort.
Yeah, it's a big one, and it's a cinder cone, so it's not super steep. You're literally on a volcano, right? And so the way the volcano is shaped, you can ski 365 degrees around the mountain, but there's nothing like if you're in the Rockies or in the Cascades.
Where do you like to ski the best?
What's that?
Where do you think the best skiing on earth is?
The best skiing on earth. I mean, there's so many good places like Japan. I've never skied Japan, but I've got friends that have gone there. There's a lot of great skiing here in the U.S., Utah, Colorado.
Where's your favorite spot here?
My favorite spot, I don't know. I've skied Jackson Hole a bunch of times. That's a really great mountain. Big Sky, Montana, super fun. Those are probably two of my favorites outside of like my local mountain that I ski at multiple times a week.
Why haven't you gotten into snowboarding?
So I've surfed since I was 17, but I've been on skis for so long that I'm so comfortable with skis on. I don't want to go through the learning curve. I was ski patrolling at Bear Valley in Northern California for like 7 years. And I was up there like 80 days a season. And my friend who's the marketing director one day, she's like, you got a snowboard. I'm like, I don't have any interest in snowboarding. She's like, I got you a private lesson of snowboard. You're snowboarding. And I'm like, fine. So I took a lesson, and then I started rolling around with my wife and ended up taking a couple face plants. I caught a front side edge, and third time I did it and just blew all the oxygen out of my lungs. I'm like, if I was skiing, I wouldn't be falling at all, let alone on my face. So brought the snowboard back, put my skis back on, and I don't think I've ever been on a snowboard since. So I don't know, when you're comfortable with something and you can go rip something, it just seems, I just don't want to go through the learning curve and be on my face or my butt all day long. So stuck with skiing for a long time.
So would you do extreme skiing? Are you that level?
Yeah, no, I can ski anything, but again, 53, there's stuff that I'll look at. I'm like, yeah, I can ski it, but is it really worth it? If I fall here, I'm going to end up, severely injured or, worse. So there's things that I just choose not to, because I've done all that stuff, and I've skied super crazy 55 plus degree slopes where you're on the slope and it's so steep that you can literally put your hand here and you're touching the snow. So it's like that steep. You're on your edge. I remember one time I was at Big Sky and skiing the gullies with my buddy, and the gullies is this like these cliff bands that you're skiing between. And this is probably, I don't know, right around 15 years ago. And that was the last time I remember really being scared, because I was like looking down going, man, if I fall right here, I'm going to fall like 1,000 feet. Like I'm either going to get hurt bad or I'm dying. And I choose not to put myself in that position anymore. I still like to ski steeps, but just not stuff where, if you do fall, you're in deep trouble.
Dude, who do you think is the best all-time network marketer name that you've heard of? Like what's the big granddaddy names of network marketing?
There's a lot of people. Like one of the best networkers that I know, I've known him for over 25 years, is a guy by the name of Dan McCormick. He'd be a great guy for you to interview. He's amazing on camera. He's amazing. He's an absolute beast of a networker. And his wife was the very first distributor in Canada many years ago, over 30 years ago, for Herbalife. I met him probably almost 30 years ago in Bodywise International. We've been friends. He's just an animal. There's a lot of great people in this profession that just go out and crush it.
Whatever
Lots
happened?
of different companies that do well. What's that?
What's the story on Bob Gould?
Bill Gould.
Bill Gould.
Bill Gould.
Bill Gould.
That's actually an interesting question because that's where I started.
Oh yeah.
I started in NSA in Bill Gould's organization. He had his group was everything under him was under advanced marketing seminars. And I remember going to my first basic building blocks to success event in January of 1990 in San Diego in La Jolla. And that was like the very first seminar of anything ever that I'd ever gone to. And it was life altering for me in terms of developing my beliefs around the business model and seeing the bigger picture.
Was it Bill's?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Was it Bill's event?
Yeah, it was Bill's. Yeah. I mean, I went to every one of his events: Perpetual Money Machine, Journey Beyond Perception, Basic Building Blocks, Advanced Basic Building Blocks, multiple times. I remember being at Perpetual Money Machine at the Bonaventure Hotel in 1991 with like 5,000 people.
Dude, he's a beast, is he not?
He does what?
He's a beast.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know that I've seen anybody better, and I've spoken with a lot of top speakers and top networkers. I mean, his ability is off the charts. It's fascinating because, he got booted out of network marketing permanently with, back in the day with his Equinox thing. He was like permanently banned or barred from the direct selling profession. And there's a lot of people that are like, oh, Bill was, the front loading king. And, I mean, when I was there was no talk about front loading. I mean, we were selling water filters and people were talking about, yeah, he was always trying to get people for $25,000 orders. I'm like, no, he wasn't. I was there. It was like, I mean, if you can get somebody in with a dealer order and help them grow volume and build a team, that's the name of the game. And so he's got a kind of a mixed reputation. My feelings about him are all good. Everything that I learned early on in my network marketing career came from the teachings and trainings that I got through that company. So I got nothing but great things to say about him.
Yeah, well, that's what, believe it or not, a lot of people in the network marketing field say to me when I ask about Bill Gould, and no one's really ever said anything bad other than they've referred to there was some sort of stigma about Bill Gould. Like he was booted out for that Equinox thing, which again, from what I heard was just the government being the government. Like, was there something wrong with Equinox at the end of the day, or did they just unfairly shut him down?
I think they targeted him, and there was there's other stuff that I don't know if I want to get into in the podcast that was happening that probably wasn't right, not from a business perspective, but other things that were just kind of going on. But I think like even Vima got targeted. BK Borrego got targeted a few years ago by the Federal Trade Commission. They raided, they walked in. I mean, I'd done like 40 events for that company. And in fact, I was scheduled to fly out the next month to Colombia and back to Europe to go speak for him. Like my friend from Europe called me up. He goes, Vima just got raided. I'm like, raided? I'm like, what are you talking about? And they got raided. Like they literally came in and took all their stuff, locked everything down. It was bad news. I sat in the court proceedings with the Federal Trade Commission and Vima in Phoenix. And it was just sad to see the power of the Federal Trade Commission coming in and, stopping a company that was, big time focus on retail sales. They were moving a ton of their Verve energy drink and their Vima. I mean, people love that product and they got hammered. And it's just so unfortunate that, these large powers, whether it be Facebook or Amazon or Google or, what's going on with, all the amount of censorship today, or, some regulatory agency coming in and attacking, it's not good. I mean, it's just, you gotta fly straight. And I don't think that they weren't flying straight. I think that there were a lot of, I have my opinions, and I'll tell you, this is what I think happened. That deal, there was a lot of young people. They had this thing called the YPR, Young People's Revolution. So that all these 20 something kids and they're, growing the business, doing well. They were going to different college campuses. Can you imagine you sent your kid to Stanford and your kid's like, you saved your money your whole life to send your kid to Stanford, and he calls you up and says, Dad, I'm going to drop out of Stanford and I'm going to go sell energy drinks? You'd be pissed. And then I think that happened enough with a bunch of influential parents and other people. And finally, the radar was on them, and then they ended up kind of, taking it, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, a lot of their people were kind of endorsing quitting school.
Yeah, there was definitely some of that for sure. And again, I think, you get enough influential parents that have got big money.
Oh, yeah.
And their kids dropping out of Harvard.
Yeah, but nowadays, dude, that's normal. I mean, listen, if someone asks me, do I think they should go to college? I think you should go to college for the experience and the relationships. Yes. I think the education's a bonus. I don't think that's the purpose anymore. I think nowadays with social media and the internet, like you can reach the people direct without going through professors to tell you, what they believe. You can tap right into the people that have actually done it. Like, again, your training, you train people. You've already built big MLM businesses. Okay, so you got coaching plans and you've got things. Would someone be smart to try MLM on their own or network marketing on their own, or come to you? Obviously. So that's in my opinion, that's the same. Yeah, that's the same correlation.
You can either try to figure it out on your own, or you can learn from somebody that's got years of experience, right? So if you're going to do something, doesn't it make sense to learn from somebody that's done it? Like, I wouldn't learn how to ski from some guy that's never set foot on skis. I wouldn't really want to learn how to do network marketing from somebody that's never done network marketing.
Dude,
I think it goes with anything.
Last time I went skiing, bro, I would go down the hill and my legs were so out of shape, they literally started shaking after a while. My legs were shaking, and I'm like, I can't get down this freaking mountain. They were like literally that sore. I got off the freaking hill and said, "Screw skiing."
I have that same experience. I was hiking with my wife's cousin up Mount Rainier, and we were doing a summer hike up to the glacier, and we got up I hiked up with skis on my back, boots on my back, and I got up to, maybe hiked up just to the bottom of the glacier, like 3,000 feet. And my quads were like literally like twitching. And I'm like, I can't go hike another 1,500 feet and then ski it down and walk it down. I turned around and walked back to the car. My legs were just uncontrollably twitching. So I know that feeling when you push it a little too far.
Yeah. Like, what does that mean? Does that mean that we don't like run, or is it just an age thing?
I mean, that was for me. I was still ski patrolling at Crystal Mountain at the time. So
you were conditioned.
I mean, I was in pretty good ski shape. So I just think, I don't know. I mean, I've actually never had that happen ever again or before, where they literally, my legs were just twitching uncontrollably. So I don't know what happened that day. Obviously, I couldn't take it. He went up and hiked the glacier twice and had no problem doing it. I never even made it up the glacier.
Well, I'll tell you right now, it killed skiing for me. It's like, dude, the snow, it's cold. My legs were shaking. My nose is running. I'm like, dude, I don't get this whole skiing thing. Never got it.
I live for it, man.
Although
it's awesome.
It was fun when I was young, I loved it. Why? Well, because, dude, I'd race down the mountain. I wasn't very, advanced, but I got to where I could, hum. So I'm humming down the mountain, spraying people on the way by and, doing the fun stuff. But as soon as my legs started shaking, I'm like, dude, I'm past skiing. No more skiing for me. I'll go up to, I'll meet you at the lodge.
Where'd you grow up?
Eugene, Oregon, mainly.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been to Bachelor. I've been to Bachelor a ton of times.
Okay.
I love Ben.
I used to go to Autzen Stadium all the time to see the Grateful Dead back in the day.
Oh yeah. I went to high school with the manager's daughter, the Grateful Dead's manager's daughter. She used to always she always used to bring acid to high school, and when people, walking down the hall see her, they'd just lean their head back and open their mouth, and she'd put drops of acid in your mouth.
Oh, that's an interesting way to experience a school day.
And dude, it was great. It was Grateful Dead's manager's daughter, so that means that was like Grateful Dead acid.
Yeah, the pure stuff.
Dude,
I can't say I never tried that back in the day. I did.
Oh,
it was,
dude,
it was awesome.
Yeah. Well, The other day someone was asking me at this little keynote that I was doing, they were doing a Q&A, and they said, what advice would you give me being 23 and wanting to get broader perspective? I said, you ever drop acid? And the whole crowd started laughing. And it's like, dude, I would recommend doing acid. I think it made me smarter. I do.
No, you're not even joking. And the funny thing is, unless somebody's experienced psychedelics, mushrooms, acid, ayahuasca, they don't, it gives you a different perspective.
It does. And I think it broadens your perspective.
Totally.
Makes you smarter.
Yeah. I will agree with that. And I have had a chance in my life to experience all three.
Like once or twice, or did you freaking fry your ass off a couple times?
Well, I didn't fry my brain. I'm still here and talking intelligently with you. So I don't know how many times I've eaten mushrooms a bunch of times. I probably, during my college days, fallen the Grateful Dead, ate acid about 100 times. So funny. I would never, we're talking about this on a podcast, but, and I did one ayahuasca journey, and that was about 5 years ago. I did that in Hawaii with a shaman.
Did you shit yourself?
Pretty epic. Pretty epic.
Todd, did you shit yourself?
No, I didn't, but my friend did.
Yeah, see, dude, I am not interested in ayahuasca. Somebody asked me the other day if I wanted to, smoke this toad dust or something and or do ayahuasca. I'm like, dude, number one, I'm done with psychedelics. Number two, I wouldn't do ayahuasca because you puke and shit for like hours, don't you?
No, not hours. Like, the journey that I was on, there was 10 people, you get in do this little ceremony, take your shot, you go sit in a meditative position, and they give you this bucket basically. Cause 10, 15 minutes into it, you start throwing up. And you throw up for, I don't know, everybody's different, maybe 5-10 minutes. And it's like you're purging whatever negative stuff out of you. And then you're done. And then you're flying and you're in your own little world for the next 7 or 8 hours until you're, lucid again, which I think, we took it at about 8 o'clock. And by 5 a.m, I felt great and was back to normal. I mean, the next day was amazing. I had, no hangover, no lack of energy when surfing that day.
Did you meet Mother Earth?
What's that?
Did you meet Mother Earth?
No, I don't know. I mean, it was for me, my recollection was, the shaman, said, like, when you're going in, if this is the first time you've done ayahuasca, I said, and he said it this way, he goes, think who I am. Who am I? But he said it in two different ways. Who am I? Who I am. Who I am, a statement. Who am I, a question. And so I remember just going in and thinking, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And my all of my thought process was on my family, being a great father, being a great husband, being a great role model for my kids, and being being everything that I should be as a father. So that my whole focus throughout that journey was being just an amazing dad and an amazing husband. And so that, I had a very positive experience. I was known as the giggler that night, because I would be laying down in a fetal position with this laugh that I could never do. Like, I've never laughed like that ever. I remember the laughter, but it was so childlike. And there were people the next day like, who was laughing? And I was like, that was me. And they're like, oh my gosh, you took me out of my dark spot. I'm like, oh, great. They were over in the corner, like, having some weird episode and heard me laughing, and it brought them out of their darkness into light. So that was a pretty epic experience. I don't know if that I would do it again, but certainly enjoyed it.
Oh, Todd Falcone doing the old ayahuasca.
Never know what happens when you're talking to Brad Lee.
Who knew? Now everybody knows even more about Todd than ever before. And by the way, that means in my book that you're definitely a little more, I would say, trustworthy. Why? Well, because, dude, anybody that's done psychedelics and really understands that type of thing, they've got a broader perspective. They're more real. They're more connected to earth. I mean, I'm not recommending it. So especially if I have any listeners that are influenced by me, I'm not recommending you do. I'm just telling you what happened to me. Speaking of which, why is it in network marketing, Todd? Can you let's say I join a network marketing company and I actually make $150,000 a month off my team.
Yeah.
And that's fact. Why can't I tell friends and people that I make that?
Because of attorney generals and the Federal Trade Commission, and you cannot make product claims product claims, income claims, or lifestyle claims. That's just regulatory agencies. Like, way back in the day, if I had a $15,000 check and I'd have it photocopied and in my little binder, and I go, look, this is how much I made last month. You can't do that anymore because it's incentivizes people to want to do it. And what's interesting is I was talking to an MLM attorney, and he told me, because I was asking about, okay, well, if I posted on Facebook my check from last month and I had the full income disclosure statement, the full IDS at the company, unedited, easy to read, not hidden, am I able to do that? And he's like, yeah, because as long as you have the full IDS, you can do whatever you want. Most network marketing company owners don't want you doing that, which I understand. But I mean, wouldn't that be great if, you made 140 last month and somebody goes, well, how much did you make last month? I made $142,880.28 if you want me to be accurate.
Well, that would make it easy. That would make it easy. Like, I don't understand, why don't they want people succeeding? Because again, imagine if you could. People would be joining those companies by the droves. People would be, obviously, some would be quitting and failing because of their own personal reasons, or shortcomings, but there'd be a lot of people able to identify which ones are kicking the most ass.
Yeah, and I think that just goes down to the regulatory agencies and consumer protection and all of that. And they don't want you to be out there saying it's easy, anybody can do it, because that's not the truth. It's not easy, and not anybody can do it. And those results are not typical. In fact, they're very atypical. But I think they're atypical because, somebody who's making $100,000 a month, they work their ass off to get where they are over an extended period of time. That doesn't happen on accident. That happens because you busted it for a good period of time to get there. And the truth is, most people aren't willing to do the work to get to that point, and they get stuck here. This is the biggest thing. They get stuck in their head. The reason most people don't win in network marketing is because they don't act. And the reason they don't act is because they're so stuck in here. And they're caught up thinking about, oh, well, what if my friend's not my friend? What if they reject me? What if I'm now cast out and they don't accept me anymore because I brought a network marketing deal? I'm like, dude, if your friend doesn't be your friend anymore because you brought a deal to them, they ain't your friend in the beginning. They're not a real friend. A real friend doesn't have to do your deal, doesn't have to buy your product, but at least they can high five you at the finish line and say, man, I'm proud of you.
Exactly.
And so
Elon Musk says, instead of baby showers, let's do business showers.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's a great business model. It's something, I look, 32 years in it. I ain't going anywhere. I love it.
Well, not only that, you're successful, but would you say, like, if someone's considering jumping in there, that they have sales, what's the profile of someone that would generally succeed in network marketing?
I don't know. Like, I love to recruit professional salespeople and people that already lead teams and, are used to earning money on commissions, earning money based on their own personal production. That's kind of like, if I was going to prospect profile, I would typically go after somebody like that. But you got stay-at-home moms that have never done a network marketing business before that come in and absolutely blow it up. I think the thing that they have in common is they've got this burning desire to do something, and they actually follow that desire up with action until they get it done. But I've met people from all walks of life that have gotten to big money in network marketing. You don't have to be some slick professional sales guy or gal to, succeed here. In fact, I've seen a lot of salespeople who are very skilled salespeople come in and fall flat on their face, because they treat it exactly like a traditional sales model, and it's different, right? Yeah. A lot of times in sales, you've got a limited geographic area to market to go with. And they, if it didn't work the first time, you redo your proposal, you come at a different angle, come back at them. Here, the world's your oyster. And I just think look, I've got a lot of professional salespeople that have succeeded on my teams, but I've also had people that are really good and they don't get it done. So I think, the backgrounds are pretty varied in terms of who succeeds in this business.
Well, you've got training, by the way, from A to Z, if anybody's interested. I notice here you've got Fearless University, an online on-demand training portal. Is that like a training system, a web-based training system?
Fearless Academy is we sell it differently now. It was a premium membership site. Now people are able to just access all of that training with a single purchase. So Fearless Academy is about 110 video tutorials, really covering the A to Z. If you wanted to understand, I'm just getting started, I'm new, what's next, or what do I do the first 24 hours, to building a team, dealing with any of the politics or weird stuff that might happen, long-term growth. So I produce that. It's a very, very comprehensive training program. I backed that up with another training called Leadership Evolution, which I produced in the latter part of last year. And that's the angle on that is all leading, team building, and it's for people that really want to step up their game in network marketing. So we produced that, put that out. I mean, those are like, if somebody owned those 2 training programs, they would pretty much have everything that they would need to understand or know in order to be highly successful in network marketing.
What platform did you use? Because I don't think you're on LightSpeed.
We talked about this a month ago. We ended up moving everything over from kind of a button, different. I don't even know what we were using. I got my team on that, and we ended up moving over to Kajabi before you and I even started talking.
Well, dude, one of these days when you want to take that to another level, just again, reach out, let us know. Let us know.
Yeah, I'll have to come down to Vegas and hang out with you and spend some time with you and really see the platform and have a deep discussion about it.
Yeah, I mean, the only difference right now you're giving people access to the training, which are basically obviously videos, and the only difference is we'd move the videos into a training system. And there's a difference between videos and a system. A system has leaderboards and community and all these other things attached to it. But the true thing is the interactivity. So when did I already show you or no?
No, Charlie's been on me for a couple of years, and then I've been inside of your platform with some of your other clients.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Charlie has talked to you. See, one of these days, because anyone that actually understands what it can do, I think is going to be, highly impressed when they jump. I mean, we've taken a lot of people off of Kajabi, obviously, but the cool part about what I'm thinking with your brand is the ability to create really helpful tools in the business. Because again, an onboarding tool, a freaking recruiting tool, an interactive video-based recruiting tool. If you could get the scripting down for that, Todd, you literally could, I think, revolutionize MLM, because it's all about, recruiting. They don't like to say it, but it is. It's about recruiting, and it's obviously about selling the product successfully. Now I've been in network marketing. I never really got as a big distributor in it, but I understood it pretty easily. And I think anybody listening to this should, consider MLM marketing, network marketing, whatever you're calling it. How come some people are like, we're not MLM, we're more like network marketing? Why is the MLM, is that a stigma?
No, I think the term originated, it was originally multi-level marketing. I think the term has shifted more so to network marketing. I mean, they're synonymous, but there are companies that I will not mention that won't even call themselves network marketing, even though they are network marketing. And I think it's their way of trying to separate themselves from the stigma of the profession, right? There's a company that's, $3 billion plus a year. That's very, very successful, over 30 years in business. And they don't call themselves network marketing. And I don't some of them might be listening right now. I know you're consumer direct marketing, and I get it. And I've been a customer of theirs for a long time. But essentially it's, what we do in the business is exactly the same thing in that deal or any other deal in network marketing. And they just have chosen to, separate their company from, the rest of the profession, which, you can't knock them at $3 billion a year. So what they're doing is working.
Dude, my producer wrote a note here that said, make sure you ask Todd about his 4 coaching plans. I see all your plans here, but what are the 4 coaching plans?
I do, my coaching is pretty limited. I do something called A-Team. Right now I've got about 1,000 people in 2 different 90-day runs that just started last Monday and Tuesday. So I run this 12-week 90-day blitz, which is totally focused on accountability and getting people to step up their game. That's the thing that I focus on probably more than anything else. And I've been doing that since 2008. And we run one every quarter, and they're very effective at getting people into action. My other coaching plans that he's probably referring to are my one-on-one coaching, and there's different choices for somebody to, like, somebody wants to coach with me for a month or 3 months or 6 months or a year. But I'm just really selective at who I choose to spend my time with one-on-one. And I only typically coach maybe a half a dozen people a month. I mean, I could sell a lot more coaching, but then I'd have to be sitting at the desk for 8-10 hours a day, every single day. And that's just not something I want to do. So I'll coach people one-on-one after I vet them a little bit and decide, is this somebody I want to actually spend hours with talking to? Because it's not something I need to do. I do it because I want to help people.
Amen. You got to be protective of your time. Speaking of time, I blew a few minutes jumbling with my gear, but I appreciate you giving me today, helping the bomb squad understand a few things to get them past jam situations and challenges. Folks, do you have a podcast, by the way, Todd?
I do. I've got a very interesting way of putting my podcast out. So I produce a new chunk of content every week, goes out on Mondays, goes out as a video on my page. We rip that into an audio podcast. So, I've got people listening to me on my podcast, the Fearless Networker Show, and they're able to see that same exact info through my site with the video release. So it goes out on YouTube, goes out on my page, goes out as a podcast. And that's my simplified way of doing all of my content. So yeah, I do. It's called the Fearless Networker Show.
The Fearless Networker Show, folks. Go subscribe to that, especially if you are an MLM or network marketing, I should say. Todd, I appreciate your time. I don't want to, dominate the afternoon. So if anything, folks, you want to make some side cash, not even quit your job. I always tell people, look, you don't need to quit your job, but you definitely need to pick up a side hustle if you're on salary. Todd, would you agree or disagree? I mean, looking back through life, if you didn't join MLM, where would you have been?
I probably would be in the broadcast area right now and running a bunch of TV or radio stations. That would have been easy for me to do. I mean, I could have easily swung into that, but I just love this profession so much. Yeah, if you're not involved in network marketing, go find one. I mean, I know all the top companies in the profession. I mean, I can hook you up with anybody. Number two, again, if you're W-2 only, you need to have a side hustle, specifically in network marketing, just for the tax advantages. So if you're not, maybe it's a good time for you to make that decision. You
teach anything about tax advantages in the courses?
I do limited, but I don't I'm not a tax attorney. I'm not a CPA, so I don't really want to give too much tax advice.
Yeah, but still you're an expert in the industry and you know those tax attorneys and CPAs where you could create the course, because I think that'd be a highly sought after course.
Yeah, I agree. There's people that I refer to, like if they want to get connected with somebody, I'll refer them to different people on my list.
Well, shoot me their name. I'll call them, see if they want to put together a course and make millies. Or let's me and you do it on LightSpeed. Can't do it on Kajabi, though.
No, I got you.
I always tell people.
I'll get you connected with this one lady. I think you like her.
I always tell people on, when you get Kajabi, you're getting, a hand Kajabi, but you're not getting a training system.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I appreciate you. You're a very professional version of me. I think you've been polished your whole life. You're very careful. Are you a Trump fan or a Biden fan?
Are you kidding me? What's your guess?
Well, I'd say Trump because you make money.
Yeah. I definitely voted for Trump. So,
but most people,
next 10 days are going to be really interesting.
Dude, that's what I'm talking about. But most people, very careful about speaking politically. I always ask people some questions on the podcast to open them up and make sure people understand a little bit more about them. What's funny about Todd Falcone, how many people know you in the industry? Thousands and hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
How many of them know you used to fry on acid and do ayahuasca?
Everybody now, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean,
but the funny thing, Brad, here's the deal. What, you're going to hide who you really are? Bill Clinton, I tried weed, but I didn't inhale. You're stupid. Why would you try weed and not inhale? If you're going to do it, do it. You're going to lie to the American people. You inhaled. Don't even say you didn't.
Well, he did not have
I did
sexual.
acid. I ate mushrooms.
Yeah, but he did not
What?
have sexual relations with that woman either.
No, yeah, of course, except for the cigar.
Speaking of cigars, you into cigars?
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I got some really nice Cubans from Dane.
Yeah, dude. If I was gonna say, if you're up in Bend, so is Dane Lomax, and that dude, you know, he can get the real deal cigars. If I was you, I'd go smoke a cigar with him.
Yeah, well, I've been chatting with him quite a bit lately.
All right, dude. Well, I appreciate you coming on here, dropping bombs with me. I know you're a busy dude. I appreciate doing that. Folks, if you guys would like to go get his book, Fearless Networking, Create Better Connections, Invite with Ease, Obliterate Objections, Follow Up and Close Like a Pro. That's a hell of a title.
Yes, it is.
You know, just go to toddfalcone.com or follow him on IG. And until next time, make sure you share this thing out, give us a rating and a review, and until next time, keep it real.
Dropping bombs with the real Brad Lee. Subscribe